It is Sunday, the 14th of August, and that is the Isle of Wight, home to Dante One Savage, that's collectively known as Mr. Shoot and Excellence. Sorry, I almost called him Excrement there because that was stuck in my mind since Moral Virus's big tirade against his last video. So yes, that's the Isle of Wight, and presumably somewhere there at the edge of it would be one of the beaches that Mr. Shoot's girlfriend spent time with Mr. Shoot and told me about it on MSN Messenger. So it is day 3 at the beach, and well, as you can see, I had 2 days of great weather, and now I can barely see the Isle of Wight. Yeah, and oh, this, gosh, if I could, I would buy this hut and then demolish it, because it spoils, sort of gets in the way of the view, but never mind. So yeah, I had 2 wonderful days, and apparently God saw it fit to deprive me of a 3rd day of nice weather. Thanks a lot. But on the bright side of things, it means that I can stalk. I'm stalking this family here by the harbour. So, you know, when I'm not sunbathing, I can put my energy into that little activity I have on the side. Okay, so in seriousness, I sort of wanted to weigh in a little bit on the London riots. Many people have done videos. Oh, I need to zoom this out. It's better. Many people did videos weighing in. Pat Condell saw fit to do, as you would have noticed if you saw my last video, a very, very angry rant, which was understandable. A part of me felt supportive of it. A part of me felt it was a good catharsis. I can't say I want to completely dehumanize these people who've done these crimes. I want to think that they have some humanity in them, and I do believe they have humanity in them. There's certainly a camaraderie amongst the gangs themselves. They have friendships and bonds within those gangs, so there's definitely something to work with. And, you know, I think it would be quite reasonable to suspect that many of these people will reflect back on this and think it was a terrible thing they did, but we're not going to help that cause if we completely dehumanize them and call these people thick scum and parasites and rodents who shit in their own boxes. Now, we can deplore the acts they've done, but I don't think we should write off the people entirely. I think we have to condemn the actions, but be careful not to condemn the people outright, and let them know that there is a chance at redemption. I do think forgiveness is important. As for why they did what they did, what made them that way, it's spoiltness and a lack of respect. Ryuoni made a video, and amongst other commentators said that, oh, it's the poverty, we should look to fix the poverty line and spread the wealth out in order to prevent this happening again. No. I agree that we should be, I'm an advocate of proportional wealth spread out, but this does not really change my opinion on that, or it doesn't further my agenda on that. I know people who are impoverished and people who have jobs that they're really overqualified for, and they really try hard and they really make the best out of what they've got, and they'd never show such a lack of regard and disrespect and thieve from other people's stores. So the poverty thing isn't the issue. These people don't have a respect, and that's really the issue. Of course, I do think we should spread the poverty out. Sorry, we should we should eradicate the poverty and bridge the gap between the poor and the rich. But that's not what caused the people to riot. If we need to get to the bottom of this lack of respect, and that would probably be to do with the families and their upbringing. Now, they're raised and they've done what they've done, so I think the next step is to try and engage them, and like I said, not call them scum, but just try and get them to see the error of their ways. I have seen people being confronted by journalists who said, "How would you feel if your home got demolished?" And they said, "Oh, I'd feel terrible." And then the journalists have said, "Hang on a second, let's look at that." And then the guys have said, "Well, this is the government's fault." I can see a shed of myself in that, because I used to bully, and, you know, it was, "Oh, the kid brought it on himself, he hasn't made any effort, he's annoying." Pathetic excuses, but on some level I knew I was a bastard, and, you know, it was about coming to terms with that and actually saying, "Oh, I'm the one in the wrong here, there is no excuse to be that mean to people." And I think it's good to share these sorts of faults within yourselves and set an example of how you come to terms with things that you've done that are wrong. And, you know, we ought to forgive them of looting, provided that they're willing to, of course, change their ways and reflect on it and never do it again, and, you know, be ashamed of those particular actions. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is we should work with this and not just condemn them and not just see them as scum. Now, having said that, I do think we need to have water cannons and plastic bullets, rubber bullets, administered to the police, and they should be authorised to use it. It's not ideal, I don't really want to see anyone get hurt, but from a practical standpoint, you have to do what it takes to put down such a surge of rioting and looting, because you have to look at the rights of the business people who have a right not to have their livelihoods ruined and jeopardized. So it's not ideal, but it's just the situation we're in. From a practical standpoint, we do have to administer force. People who disagree with this keep telling me, "Oh, I don't want a police state." I don't buy that once we allow the police to use cannons and rubber plastic bullets that, you know, they'll abuse their powers. You can set the boundaries and say that they're authorized to use this means of force in events of seeing uncontrollable crowds start to kick in windows. So I guess those are my thoughts on the matter, and hopefully we can work toward it and work towards a better future, not push these people to the margins of society, be willing to speak with these people. I'll see you when I get back to London. There is no riots out here, so... Right, as you can see, it was, the weather wasn't great, so I decided to come home today. And I got a new shirt on. The one thing I would add then is, what does you call them? Vigilante groups. I had a brain freeze right there. Vigilante groups. So there were a couple. Actually, there was the EDL as well, so that's 3 on the top of my mind. If I can sort of support vigilantes, to be fair to the police, there was one night where they didn't have control, and the next night they drafted in the units from all around the United Kingdom, and they did have it more or less under control after that. Nevertheless, being that we did see them get out of control in the first place, though it was quickly managed, it's reasonable enough to think that this could happen again, and to have some sort of plan for a vigilante. The police don't want it. It makes it harder for them to distinguish who's the vigilante and who are the looters, and I suppose the government wouldn't like it because it makes the country look like, you know, they're not doing their jobs properly. The police that they should be managing aren't doing their jobs well enough to protect people. However, I think it is justified. If you're going to do a vigilante group, though, please, for goodness sake, have some discipline and disassociate yourself and distinguish yourself from the characters and traits of the looters. Great example of this would be the Sikhs, who stood defensively but nice, quietly and passively. And I have to say, the people who didn't do such a good job were... where was it? I don't remember. but they basically were a bit rowdy and were saying, "Oh, I'm doing this. I'll defend my daughter and my wife till I die." And then they were making a big ruckus and sort of charging around, getting excited. And that I could see, yeah, at first glance, not easy to tell if they're the looters running away with goods or if they're the vigilante mob. So, for goodness sake, have some discipline and, I don't know, have a dress code, do something. Don't share the characteristics of the rioters. That'll be all.